The following is an exclusive presentation of the Carolina Panthers and the National Football League. On this episode of the Panthers Huddle, Coach Canales is here as Carolina brings their talents back home for a division showdown with the Saints. Plus, step inside TD's film room as the Panthers Legend breaks down the Saints. Welcome inside the Panthers Huddle.
Hey everybody, thank you for joining us inside the Panthers Huddle. Kristen Balboni alongside my incredible co-host and Panthers legend, Thomas Davis, TD. Panthers go into Lambeau 16-13, last-second field goal to win it. Give me your impressions of this game. Whew.
KB, this was a phenomenal game by the entire team, and it really started with Coach Canales' decision to take the football on the first possession and make the decision in the second half on where we wanted to be going as a football team. So when we got ready to make kicks, when we got ready to throw the ball, the second half was a lot easier with the win. So hats off to this football team. You know, courageous effort by a lot of players, but to see Rico Dowdle continue to fight, battle with whatever nagging injury that kept bothering him in that game, that was truly impressive.
I know that you like that a lot. One of the toughest guys from the NFL right here. So if you're giving Rico praise, it is high praise. I want to talk to you about this defense. Held the Packers to 1 for 5 in the red zone, only allowed this team 13 points. What did you see?
KB, that was the difference in the game. You know, for this defense to play a bend but don't break style defense, you know, allow them some yardage but keep them from scoring points, that was huge. And when you look at the opportunities that they presented, you know, we talked about it going into that game, that we needed to create more turnovers and we needed to protect the football. Well, this defense went against a team that has only had 2 turnovers all season long going into that game. And for us to take the ball away, essentially 3 times if you ask me, because on 4th down, we stopped them, but it should have been an interception too. I told you, Mike Jack, you do not like nice things. We've said this over and over, and you're proving me to be right every chance that you get, unfortunately. But for them to go out and compete that way against a high-powered offense, KB, it was truly special after what we witnessed with this defense against the Bills offense.
No
2
kidding.
weeks ago.
No kidding. And we're going to get into that in just a second. But I want to just quickly shout out Trayvon Merrick, NFC Defensive Player of the Week. We saw his play is so consistent every week, and then he had that big interception. I know you like to watch him play. Listen,
I love watching him play. I love what he brings to this defense. And when you watch him fly around, not only in the back end, but he's coming up, he's close to the line of scrimmage, he's getting sacks, he's getting pressures on the quarterback, he's making big hits like that. He is one of those guys that I would have loved to have played with. And, you know, he just brings so much energy and so much excitement to that group, man. It's truly special what he's been able to do in such a short time here.
I remember defensive coordinator Ejiro Evero told me that he wanted him to be a featured player in this defense, and boy, is he a featured player.
He definitely started to be featured, and you know, when you look at what he's been able to do and what some of these other guys like Derrick Brown are consistently doing, this defense has the opportunity to be truly special.
They sure do. Now, you mentioned the way this team responded after that big Bills loss. So what should this team be thinking about now coming off of this big win, TD?
Listen, we have to lock in and we have to understand that we have to fight that complacency bug. Whenever you go and you're able to beat a team that nobody expected you to beat, you 2 touchdown underdogs going into Green Bay, and now you coming into a game at home that you're favored against a team that we know that has struggled. They haven't played well all year. Do not allow them to have confidence, in particular early. You got to come out and jump on this Saints team because we know it's a divisional game, and those games are always wild. They're always different. So we got to make sure that we allow ourselves to know who we are and make sure that they know who they are. And with that being said, they are a team that's 1-6. They're struggling. They're not doing very well right now. And we got to literally keep 1-8, my bad. They got to keep we got to keep our foot on their throats, KB, essentially. I don't know if that's allowed for me to say that, but that's kind of the mindset that we always took into that Saints game. They were not a team that you can allow to linger around and just stay close to you, because they'll find a way at the end of the game if you allow them to.
We know those division games are always, anyone's game. As you said, they want to come in here and prove something. They do have a rookie quarterback. Tyler Shuck is starting this game as a defender. You're getting ready for this game. What is your goal when you face a rookie?
Listen, you gotta make him uncomfortable. That's what you have to do as a defense, and you have to come up with different ways of doing that. And it all starts with giving them different looks than what you're actually gonna run. And we know there's a lot of things going through this rookie's head, and when you're playing on the road, you have to deal with the crowd noise, you have to deal with the aggressive style of the defense, but you also have to understand and know that they're not gonna make it easy for you, and that's what this defense have to do. We got to blitz him and pressure him early to make him uncomfortable, but on the back end, show cover 2 when we're playing cover 3, show cover 3 when you're playing, like, mix it up for him and make it difficult for him to understand what's going on out there.
We'll be looking for that. I'm sure this Panthers defense will be very happy to welcome Tyler Shuck into Bank of America Stadium for that second career start. All right, we have got a lot coming up for you, including TD's film room, but right now, let's hear from the players what they are expecting this week against the Saints.
You know, I can definitely feel that winning energy, you know, that people want to be great in this building. And, you know, we don't take no team lightly. You know, we got the Saints who's 1-8, but, you know, we can't just bend over and you know, just think that it's going to be a walk in the park, because it's not. You know, you can't take any team lightly in this league. And, you know, that's kind of the mentality that we have every single week.
It's November time, and it's winning time. That's when you make your move, get ready for December, and that's playoff time. So it's how we see it. Like that's how, like, exactly how I explained it to you. That's exactly how we see it. We approach it, every game is a playoff game from this moment on. So we got to come with our best and be accountable and trustworthy to our teammates, and knowing that we can do everything the right way.
The way we prepare, the guys we have on this roster and what we put on tape is that we're a good football team, and we can go up against anybody. And so, yeah, we're expecting to win week in and week out. Obviously, you know, teams are going to make their plays and we're going to make our plays, and we just trust our process and think that we should end up on the winning side.
Coming up, Coach Dave Canales joins us in the studio to talk about a big road win and previews a division battle here at Bank of America Stadium on the Panthers Huddle. This exclusive presentation of the Carolina Panthers Television Network is brought to you in part by Bank of America, the official bank of the Carolina Panthers.
Welcome back to the Huddle. And here right now we have Coach Canales with us. Coach, congratulations on the huge win.
Appreciate it, TD.
A lot of talk is being made about your decision after the coin toss on what you wanted to do with that. Tell us a little bit about that decision and what you saw with the win that ultimately ended up making a huge difference for us down the stretch.
Yeah, well, you know, typically we defer. And when you defer, the team, you know, that the team you're going against, you know, they'll take the ball, obviously. And so we looked at the situation. Tracy Smith talked to me before the game. He said, you know, if we take the ball, we can choose what direction we're going, so we can end this thing with the wind at our backs and give us a chance to throw it, give us a chance to kick the ball in better situation. And, you know, so we kind of deviated from the norm for the situation. And, you know, he kind of looked at it and said, look, we play the game that we're supposed to play. We're going to be in this thing at the end. We're going to want that opportunity. And so that's why we went with that.
Now, listen, it was an absolutely phenomenal decision, and we saw how big of a difference it's made. Coach, tell us a little bit about the mindset going into that game. Obviously, Rico Dowdle had the opportunity to start that game and play a lot more. Talk to us a little bit about that big fourth quarter run by Rico, though.
Yeah, it was an opportunity by the way that they were playing us. You know, they had all the guys up at the line of scrimmage, and I knew that if we can get them all covered hat for a hat, Rico would find a seam. And he did. And you know what happens too, TD, you're a linebacker. When you start mugging up and getting ready for the pass game, if we get the run started, there's nobody on the second level until the DBs show up. And the guys all executed it well. And he was patient, he pressed it, and he found daylight, you know. So, and just in general, the run game just allowed us to play the game that we wanted to play, the style of football that we wanted to play, understanding when you're going one direction, that wind was like right in your face. Yeah. And it affected us, it affected the Packers, and we were able to pick up a couple of first downs and stay out there. I think about Chuba's heads-up play on the fumble, where he picked it up and got us a positive play right there. You know, in that situation, that's a critical play in that game, which ended up leading to a touchdown after that. So just guys being heads up, doing what we're asking them to do, and believing that this style of football works for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Coach, defensively, we had a tough outing against the Buffalo Bills. Didn't meet the standard in any way in that game. What are some of the things that really stood out from you from a defensive standpoint with the performance that they were able to put up and bounce back from the Buffalo game?
Resilience. If I was to sit here and tell you they dominated the Packers, we did not. But we refocused, especially when they created drives. They had 5 trips to the red zone, came out with 1 touchdown, and created a turnover on the fumble play, a 4th and 8, which is a turnover in my mind. So it was the resilience of the group to just keep playing ball. We know offenses around this league, they're going to make their plays, but can we refocus, settle back in, and get back to our keys, get back to our assignments? And we tackled really well in the game.
One of the things I want to touch on is in almost every win that we've had a guy win Player of the Week. And no different with this week with Trayvon winning the Player of the Week. And I heard you talk about it in your press conference, but could you touch a little bit on what he really means to this team and what his presence has added to that defense?
He loves football, whether it's in the meetings, whether it's on the practice field, especially in the games. This is just a guy that plays with a lot of passion, a lot of joy, and he's looking for the next big hit. He's looking for the next big play, the interception that's about to come, and he's got that kind of positive, hopeful mindset about my play is about to come. If I'm just in my spot, they'll give me an op, and to take advantage of those opportunities. And he'd be the first one to tell you it doesn't just happen with him. It's because the guy's putting duress on the quarterback. It's people fitting things up so he can do his job and be violent when he shows up to the ball.
The Saints are a football team that we're getting ready to face, but they are a team, if you turn the film on and you watch these guys play, they play a lot harder than their record indicates. Absolutely. So what's the message to the guys right now? As you get ready to face this Saints team, what is the message to them as we go into this game?
Yeah, same every week. It starts with respecting your opponent and understanding what they have. They have a team full of professional football players, and they're going to require us to play our best. That's just the way it is. When I think about the defensive side and I look at the leadership that they have with Demario Davis and Cam, playing out there, and Chase Young looks great. And he's had some injury things, and he looks like he's back, and just some young pieces in the secondary. They're really sticky, really aggressive. They play really well together. Speaking about them, on the offensive side, Kellen Moore is a guy that I really respect. I know personally. He's a very creative mind. He's going to find ways to make it challenging. He's going to use everything they have. Taysom Hill's going to get involved in some way, shape, or form. They have a rookie quarterback that's really talented, a guy we liked in the process that we were looking at, and he's a guy that's continuing to take steps, with that group. But Alvin Kamara, one of the best to ever do it. Juwan is a fantastic pass threat. Chris Olave can really go. Like, they got some pieces. We got to be about our process. Let's respect the opponent. Let's look at what they're doing. Let's attack it. Let's know what we're doing so we can play fast.
What are some of the ways do you feel like we can take advantage of this young or any young rookie quarterback and, force him into some bad decisions, and especially being right here at home? What are some of the things that we can encourage our fan base to come out and do to help be a part of this and be a factor in this game?
Absolutely. I think with every young quarterback, variety is the key, and making sure that you're mixing up your looks and throwing a bunch of different, things at them. I know when I'm coaching a young quarterback, I understand that when a team does something, it may be the first time he's ever seen this adjustment. Maybe the first time he's ever seen this pressure, and we just have to try to find those things, try to throw him off of his rhythm so he can't feel comfortable there. And on top of that, you mentioned the fans, the crowd noise is important. That's a critical deal. And I know that when we're rocking and rolling here in Bank of America Stadium, we make these critical downs really challenging, and that's an advantage for us from a pass rush standpoint, getting off on the snap and all those things. So it all matters. It all counts, and so I'd encourage everybody to come out and be a part of that.
Coach, thank you. We appreciate your time.
All right. Thanks, TD.
Up next, step inside TD's film room as the Panthers legend breaks down a Saints team hungry for a win on the Panthers Huddle.
It's always great to step inside TD's film room. And TD, of course, we are talking about the Saints, and Panthers fans certainly know the first guy on this tape well, Chris Olave.
Yes, Chris Olave is a guy that is very intriguing to me. He's one of those Ohio State receivers that has put up big numbers when he's been healthy, but he's dealt with a lot of injuries, and particularly his head injuries, KB. So it's really good to see him back out on the field making plays for this Saints offense. But we have to make sure that we know where this guy is at all times, because when he's on the field, KB, he is a dangerous player. And this is one of the things that he's capable of doing. As you'll see right here, we talked about the rookie quarterback getting the start. Seeing him on the move, Chris Olave does a great job on this play right here. If you guys watch him right now, they're in a zone defense. Everything is zoned up. Chris Olave is going to run right into this zone and make it easy for his quarterback. He doesn't continue to run full speed over into this guy to the coverage. He doesn't climb high to the next safety. So what this tells me is that Chris Olave is a smart player that understands zone defense. He understands where he needs to be in giving his young quarterback a real window and a true space to get the ball to safely. And as you see it right now, he does a great job getting to the ground, making sure that he's not taking a huge contact on this play, KB. Great job.
Okay, so when the Panthers are in zone, how do you stop that?
You know, one of the things that you have to do, in particular on this play, as you see it, once this quarterback escapes the pocket right here, KB, we have something that we used to do that's called plastering. Plastering is just basically connecting to the guy that's closest to your zone. So as the pocket moves, as the quarterback gets out of it, your zones have to change with you. You have to go and everybody has to rotate over with the quarterback movement, because you can no longer stay as a hook defender on that opposite hash or on this hash once the whole offense is moving. So once we get into a position like that, everybody has to plaster and connect to the receiver that's closest to him.
All right, looking at the Saints defense now, record aside, we know that they have some studs on this side of the ball.
They absolutely do.
So TD, who do you want to focus on today?
Listen, KB, I always talk about my kids and how much I love watching them play. Demario Davis is another one of those. Demario Davis is a guy that I've known for a very long time, and he's been good for this Saints defense for a very long time as well, KB. A former Pro Bowl player, and this is one of the reasons why. If you watch his ability to read and react to what's going on, he's an older player, but he's at the top of his game when doing things like this. As you watch him right here, he gets it right all the time. So we have to make sure that we're getting hands on Demario, because he can definitely wreck our run game.
Yeah.
And that's something that he specializes in. So we got to make sure at all times that we know where he is when it's time for us to run the ball, or when we're passing it. He does a really good job of rushing the quarterback, and our running backs are going to have to be prepared to take on the physicalness that he's going to play with.
Demario Davis, another one of TD's sons, along with Shaq Thompson and some
kids.
other guys out in the league. All right, I know you wanted to give love to a Panthers guy, and that is Iky Ekwonu, and what he did in absolutely stifling Micah Parsons last week.
KB, it was a lot of talk going into that game about Micah Parsons, in particular, after we saw, once again, what the Buffalo Bills D-line was able to do. Michael Parsons, true fact, real fact, unfortunately, 4.5 sacks against Bryce Young, the most of any quarterback in his career so far. So we had to, I think Iky might have took offense to that, because the way that he came out and played in this game was phenomenal. And we're going to show you guys, this is a compilation of Iky shutting down Michael Parsons. Watch him right here on this play. Great job by Parsons using his hands, but even better job by Iky of getting his hands inside and making sure, I got to go back to that, let you guys see that play again, because this is a phenomenal job of Iky just resetting his hands. Boom, stick him, stab him, reset. With a guy that we talked about, KB, that plays with relentless effort. He never stops. If you watch his feet, they never stop. They continue to go after the quarterback. But Iky did a great job. He was prepared for the moment. Look at that. Look at that.
Just so physical.
Just look at how physical. And that's Iky's game. He loves to be physical, and you love to see him go out and do that at a high level against really good players. And the left side of this offensive line, these guys are special. They are absolutely physical and prepared for anything that you throw at them defensively. So I love to see these guys go out and dominate in that way. Look at Iky, just constantly stifling Michael Parsons, a guy that has been really good in this league, like I said, since he came into the league. But Iky had his number that day, KB.
He sure did. He sure did. This Panthers offensive line banged up. And look at what they did against Micah Parsons. 0 pressures in that game, which is absolutely amazing. They were also really good in the run game as well. And we'll be talking a little bit more about that when we come back. We saw Rico Dowdle get the start in the last game. We expect, based on his performance, that he will get it once again this week. We're going to let you know what we are looking for from him and the rest of the team when we come back.
Closed captioning for the Panthers Television Network is provided by Charlotte Eye, Ear, Nose, and Throat Associates, providing premier eye and ENT care to North and South Carolina.
Next Monday, it is football one-on-one. You can join Panthers players and legends for it. You're going to learn the ins and outs of the game while enjoying some barefoot wine. We got a tasting, a delicious dinner, and a game day fashion show. We're going to have a lot of fun. That's featuring your favorite local store. So you can actually take your phone and scan that QR code that is right now on your screen. Take a little picture of that. So we hope that you will join us for that. All right, welcome back, TD. We always like to wrap up the show by talking about our Coke Spotlight. So who or what are you spotlighting in this Saints game?
KB, my Coke Spotlight goes to Rico Dowdle. This is a kid that we've talked about week in and week out. The more runs he gets, the more opportunities he gets, the bigger the game, the bigger the difference is that he's able to make. If you see him bursting down the field on this play right here, Rico Dowdle is a game changer, and he's the guy that makes the biggest difference for our offense, so it has to be Rico Dowdle for me, KB.
Great choice right there. I'm going to talk about the guys in front of Rico. We just gave a lot of love to Iky in your film room. That offensive line, I don't know who's playing in that game. I hope they're all healthy, but I know that Joe Gilbert is going to have whoever it is ready. The fact that they have been able to play the way they have played with so many combinations is just incredible.
It's special, KB.
All right, we are going to wrap things up here on The Huddle. Thank you all so much for watching. Thanks to head coach Dave Canales for joining us. We'll see you next time, but until then,
keep pounding.
You've been watching the Panthers Huddle, a copyrighted presentation of the Carolina Panthers and the NFL.